Hey, welcome to CK's Kitchen Channel. I'm CK, this is the kitchen, that's the channel. It's been a hot minute, hasn't it? Okay, bygones be bygones. I haven't talked to you in a while. It's not that I don't love you, it's just that I've been busy, you know what I'm saying? So, I'm CK, CK is behind the camera. Say
Hey.
hi, CK.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, CK's back there. You ain't gonna see it today, we don't need that. I'm making something special today. It is, in true Brooklyn spirit, stolen from 2, 3, 4 people, right? But I'm making it my own. So first of all, it's classic. It's kind of a baked ziti. I call this one baked ziti with clouds. Huh? With clouds. That's my own touch. That's a CK original. Clouds. It's kind of a bolognese type sauce, which I'm stealing from Jeff Eisner from Pressure Luck. This is his rigatoni bolognese instant pot recipe. I'm going to use that as a base for my sauce and cooking the pasta. But I'm stealing other things. I'm a multi-opportunity stealer. So first things, we'll go over some things. What Jeff likes to use is some beef stock, a couple of different spices, seasoned salt, nutmeg, Italian seasoning. Yeah, Italian seasoning. It takes too much to say, I want thyme, and I want oregano, and I want basil. So we're just saying Italian seasoning. Got 3/4 cup red wine, 1/4 cup white wine, and I got some vegetables, usual for a bolognese. I got onions, celery, carrot, got the ziti. I'm departing from the recipe. If you go to Pressure Luck, which you should, to see the right recipe done the right way, he uses crushed tomatoes. I'm not doing crushed tomatoes. I mean, I am, but I ain't. You know what I mean? See what I'm saying? I got a can of San Marzano tomatoes because Wegmans got them pretty cheap, and they're actual San Marzano. They taste good. You know what I mean? They're not like Roma tomatoes. They're San Marzano tomatoes, right? If you don't know the difference, watch another video. Someone else will tell you the difference. Okay? Volcanic ash. Spoiler: it's volcanic ash. But I'm just gonna crush these myself. So I'll make crushed tomatoes out of them. I got various cheeses. That's for the baked ziti portion of the baking portion. Cheeses to make cheese and clouds. You'll see how it works out. And then I got meats. I got beef. I got pork. I got veal. It's kind of all mixed together. I got like a pound meatloaf combination of the tree, and then a ½ pound of just beef thrown in on top because I need 1.5 pounds of meat according to Jeff. And that's not how they sell it at the grocery store. They never sell it in the increments in which you want to buy it. Usually it's 1.5 pounds when you want one. Today I wanted 1.5, so they had ones. That's how they get you. Okay, so with that, I'm gonna get ready to start cooking. I'm gonna start in the Instant Pot right away. What? You're saying it doesn't look like I'm ready for the Instant Pot? Boom! It's because I'm using the Instant Pot Ace blender. Yeah, so what I'm gonna do is, if you remember properly, if you're an adherent to the channel, you will remember my Italian knish recipe. Love you, Charlie. Love you, Joyce. I said in that video that Vincenzo, my boy, he don't like vegetables. And there's vegetables in this pasta dish, but he likes pasta. So what do? I'm stealing from Vincenzo, from Vincenzo's Plate YouTube channel. You ever see Vincenzo's Plate? He's an Italian guy who lives in Australia. I don't know. And he rates other people's Italian cooking. Anyway, in his bolognese recipe, he processed down the veggies into like a mush, so it would disappear into the sauce. He later got flack from that. He had a friend from Bologna rate his video, and he said, what are you doing? You want to see the vegetables? That's the whole point of having vegetables. But I'm going to go with Vincenzo on this one. Vincenzo's Plate and Vincenzo, my boy. I'm going to double Vincenzo, and I'm going to make the vegetables invisible. So that's the first thing I'm going to do, and then we're going to cook those veggies up, throw the meat in, throw the wine in. It'll be a party. I don't want to do that on here. Is your tummy growling? I don't know if you hear that. Her tummy's growling like it's like there's a ferocious cat animal behind the camera. It's like the belladonna of cats, like a deadly nightshade cat is behind the camera. Anyway, I'm going to turn the camera off, or at least CK's going to turn the camera off for a second so you don't have to listen to the blending, but I'm going to blend up the veggies. I'll chop them a little bit and then throw them in. This is a powerful blender. It makes soup. Okay, we'll be back. Boom. So now, instead of cutting up the onion, if you go over to Season Liberally and you watch the Lasagna Bolognese recipe that Cecil Something Italian did, he showed off his amazing chef skills because he's got training. I'm just a schlub. He's a trained chef guy. So he chopped everything, as he said, not a fine dice, but I thought it was a pretty fine dice because he didn't want big chunks. I don't want any chunks. So I have liquefied it. I oil-fied it, not liquid, because I didn't put liquid in. I put about a quarter cup oil in here because that's what I would cook the vegetables with normally anyway. So it's just mixed in here. So we'll cook this down a little bit and get those flavors mingling. I put a splash of oil in the Instant Pot and turned it on, so the actual pressure cooker one this time. And I put it on saute, so it's heating up. So it should be heated by now. I gave it a couple minutes. So I'm just gonna pour this in. You hear the sizzle? It's louder than CK's stomach. That's how loud the sizzle is. It lets you know that it's really heating up. Now I'm not going to bother cleaning this thing out because I'm going to make the tomatoes in this blender as well. So it'll just catch, whatever's in there then. That will cook then. It'll just cook a little less. You know what? Textures. You got textures. It's combinations of stuff. It's a good thing, textures. I read that in a book. So let me look at the time. Okay, I need about 5 minutes to let this cook here in itself. And at the end of that 5 minutes, I need to add garlic. I forgot to point out there was garlic, but there's garlic. Of course there's garlic. So I'm going to mash the garlic. I got a little garlic mashy thing in here. I love it. Okay, it's been about 5 minutes. Hey, Cecil from Season Liberally. He talked a lot about wanting to get a lot of liquid out of the food as he was cooking it. Let it dry out. I'm not making the same dish as him, so it's not as crucial for me as it was for him. But Cecil, it's been 5 minutes. A lot of the stuff's cooked out. So at the end of the 5 minutes, I'm putting in the garlic that I crushed with my garlic crush-a-thon, so I can just make it aromatic. It just takes like a minute to aromatic it. Joseph of Arimathea, remember him? He died at Castle. Never mind. If you get that joke, you're either well versed in the classics or you're old and you are a classic like me. Okay, now that it's been a minute, a hot minute, I'm going to go ahead and put the meats in. So like I said, I got the meatloaf mix that's veal and pork and beef. That was about a pound. So I bought another pound of just ground beef, and I got half of that, so it's a pound and a half of combined meats. And I'm just going to chop that up in there and cook it up for about 5 minutes. About 5 minutes, just to give it some color and mix it in with these flavors. At the end of the 5 minutes, we move to the next stage. Now, for an Instant Pot recipe, there's not a lot of pressure cooking in this one. We are going to pressure cook. Don't worry, we're going to pressure cook. But there's a lot of sauteing going on. So we did 5 minutes of the veggies, a minute of the aromatic, now another 5 minutes of the meat, and then we'll come back. Why this mixture is systematic, it's automatic, it's hydromatic, it's aromatic. Why, it's Bolognese! Go Bolognese and make a big ziti now. Big ziti, make a big ziti. Go Bolognese and a big ziti. Is that camera on? I'm gonna kick your little butt. Turn it off. Turn it off. Okay, so it's been about 5 minutes of cook time. What's that? Cecil Something Italian. You're saying that's not enough time to dry out the meat? I agree, but I'm going to moisten the meat. I'm going to put a quarter of a cup of Pinot Grigio. Any dry white wine will do. I just happen to have Pinot. And 3/4 of a cup of a red wine. It's a Cab Sauv, I think, because that's what I got. So now I'm going to mix that up. Yes, it's more liquid, but it's the key to this whole thing, right? I know this is a mock bolognese, but you need any kind of bolognese if it ain't got wine. Yeah, and so Jeff recommends, don't forget Jeff, Mr. Eisner, you're my favorite. You're my Instant Pot God. I love you, buddy. So Chef Eisner, he recommends red and white, though most recipes probably just do red, I think, because he thinks it gives it a little fuller flavor. And who am I to argue with a genius best-selling cookbook writer? 3 books out, 1 book coming out in 2 months. I ain't gonna argue with Jeff. Okay, it's been about 10 minutes of saute time with the wine, letting the alcohol boil out, as they say, letting it dry out for Cecil, and getting all the flavors properly mingled. And now at long last, it is time to, after 5 minutes of veggie cooking, a minute of aromatic cooking, 5 minutes of beef cooking, 10 minutes of wine cooking, it's time for pressure cooking. So we're going to add the rest of our ingredients in. I'm going to start with my tomatoes. Like I said, it said crushed tomatoes, and I just went ahead and used a blender with some a can of San Marzano tomatoes. Mix that in. Now I got 1/4 teaspoon nutmeg, and I think a teaspoon of Italian seasoning combined, and a teaspoon of seasoning salt, which will take care of regular salt as well. Could put pepper in this, but CK has developed an allergy to black pepper. I think I've mentioned that before, so we will not put any pepper in this. I don't think it really needs it anyway. I think it's got enough going on. No reason to put red or white pepper in its place. You could, I mean, you can, but I think this is fine. The seasoned salt's got enough kick. Okay, and then I got about 2 cups of beef broth, and I'm going to go ahead and just pour it in here just to help get some of the more tomato out. Well, that quieted it down real fast. Give it a quick stir. And that stirring's going to go away now. So I'm going to put a pound of ziti in, and the important thing is to submerge the ziti by tapping it down a little bit, but do not stir it in. You don't want ziti at the bottom. Oh, and it just turned off from saute mode because it's been a half an hour of combined saute time, and the Instant Pot don't like that. It's afraid you're going to burn something. So, okay, so this is down. Stop. Stop, CK. Don't push it down anymore. Sometimes I over push. So I'm done. I'm not you, CK. Me, CK. I'm talking to me. So, I'm going to go ahead and seal this up. Make sure it's in the sealing position. Hit cancel. Though it already turned off, I don't have to. Hit pressure cook and set it to 6 minutes. Just 6 minutes. That seems like a short amount of time, but really it takes 15 minutes, maybe 20 with all that liquid in there before it's going to come to heat. So it's not going to get pressure for quite a while. Then when it gets the pressure, it'll cook for 6 minutes. And then we move to the next stage, the oven stage. Speaking of which, I'm going to go ahead and preheat my oven. I'm going to preheat it to 350 centrifuge. Is that what it's called when the wind blows around? Centrifuge, 350 centrifuge. And so we can bake it. But we got clouds. You see all these different cheeses? There's a reason there's all these different cheeses. It's going to be special. Wait, you got me? Got me with the cheeses? Okay. So it's going to be special because I got clouds, and you'll see what that means in a little while. Actually, you'll see it in a couple of seconds because we're going to dissolve. It just stopped beeping, so it's time to do a quick release. All right, the pin has dropped. Watch out for the steam. Okay, I'm gonna give it a little stir. It's still a little liquidy, but that happens when you first open it up. You gotta give it a second to absorb after you stir it a little bit. Now, what we have here is a perfectly good ziti bolognese substitution. It's delicious looking. I could show it to you, but I won't. What I'm going to do is I'm going to now progress to the ziti, the baked ziti al forno part, but with clouds. So here's what we're going to do for clouds. I got 16 ounces of ricotta cheese. I got a nice ricotta cheese. It's from Belgioso. So we're going to take this. I'm going to put like 8 ounces, maybe. I mean, I'm not measuring, but about half which would be 8 ounces, roughly speaking, in here. You might ask, yo, CK, why didn't you just get an 8-ounce container of cheese if you're only going to use 8 ounces? Ah, there's the rub, as Shakespeare said in his cooking videos. I'm going to do more than 8 ounces. 8 ounces I'm mixing into the sauce, making it kind of like a pink sauce. And really, you could put 16. There's a lot of pasta here. You could take it. But we have discovered as we age, Peg and I, that our body doesn't handle all the cheese all that well. So we cut back a little bit. We do 8 ounces in the normal manner. But we're going to use the other 8. We're going to use it. Calm down. So I'm mixing it until the cheese all melts into the sauce. All the liquidiness that I mentioned earlier is gone. It's just a nice thick sauce now. Now, if you were over on Pressure Luck Cooking with my buddy Jeff there, he would have added like Boursin or some other herb cream cheese instead of ricotta cheese in his bolognese just to make it creamy. Not exactly traditional, but he would do it to add more flavor and creaminess. If you go over to Season Liberally, my buddy Cecil added a little milk in his sauce, and he made a bechamel. In his lasagna, he layered ragu of meat, bechamel, lasagna noodle, cheese, and then lasagna noodle. Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, without the rinsing. Look delicious. But now what I'm doing, here's what I'm doing. So now I'm going to start spooning out some ziti into this 16 by 9. Now I could take the thing out and just dump it, but that would be a mistake today because this is a special recipe for me. This is the family recipe that I developed for special occasions and for special people when they come over for dinner. Now you might ask, CK, is someone special coming over for dinner? No, nobody's coming over for dinner. But we have a young fan. I think he's like 6 years old. He's a single-digit guy who has been binging the CK videos. And he sent a message. He said, Mr. CK, when are you going to make another video? You haven't made a video in so long. And for him, it's been like, you know, a fifth of his life, you know, a couple months. So what I'm doing is I'm making a second big ziti for Logan. Logan, this is for you. I'm making one for you. I'm going to drop it off at your house. And your mother or your father, probably your mother, because I know your father's very busy and he's traveling on business, can bake it up for you. Or you can wait till he comes home if you love him and share it with him. So what I'm doing is I'm putting a layer of baked ziti, of unbaked ziti. Sorry, unbaked ziti, gonna be baked. Then what I'm gonna do is I am going back to my friend the ricotta cheese, and this is where the clouds come in. First I'm gonna take a little grated Parmigiano Reggiano and just sprinkle it, just give it a little sprinkle over this. There's plenty more pasta in the Instant Pot. We ain't done. But I'm sprinkling some cheese here. Whoops, almost put my hand in the wrong one. And now I'm taking like a little tablespoon thing and I'm gonna do a scoop of ricotta and just pop it in there. A scoop, and pop it in. So what I'm doing, now you're gonna see why I call this baked ziti with clouds. My hands are clean, I wash them in between cuts. I'm gonna make little clouds of cheese. So this way, most of the cheese, the 8 ounces we put in, right, that is mixed in with the sauce, almost like a pink sauce almost. This is going to be, every once in a while, you're going to bite into a cloud of cheese. Just nice, delicious ricotta cheese. And I find that to be a taste sensation and what do you call it? A tactile thing, you know? It's a different texture. It's textural. Just did a hand wash to get the cheese off my fingers. Now I'm gonna, oh, I forgot. I've got little poils of mozzarella. I'm gonna drop some of those in too. And make some little mozzarella clouds. Because Peg, she likes the stretchy pull. She likes the pull cheese. And I thought, instead of just putting cut mozzarella or shredded mozzarella, I'm going to go with the cloud theme and put some piles. I'm going to sprinkle them. I'm going to have a lot of extra cheese, so I'm going to be having some caprese the next couple of days, maybe for lunch, you know what I mean? Now I'm going to put the rest of the pasta on. I'll put a little bit on here. And probably the rest in here. Okay, so I got all that pasta down, so I'm going to do another shot of Parmigiano Reggiano. Grated at the store because I'm lazy, but they grate it at the store. It's not the sawdust version. And it's not Parmesan, it's Parmigiano Reggiano. They have both at the Wegmans. You just got to make sure you go to the right display. Get the one that's the authentic. Or Authentica, as they say in the business. And then I got some nice soft fresh mozzarella. I guess I could have used the piles, but I didn't know that how much I would need. I wanted to make sure I was good. Now that I'm all cheesed, I'm calling an audible. One more thing I want. I know I've got some mixed Italian seasonings, but I love oregano. So I'm just going to sprinkle a little oregano. Just a touch over the top for some greenery. A little dried oregano. Tell you, I mentioned in the Italian Condition episode that my best friend, Zip Head Pizza Man, his parents owned the best pizzeria in Canarsie, Brooklyn in the 70s and 80s. One of the things that put their pizza over the top, there were many things, but one of the things was a little shot of oregano right after they did the cheese when they made a pie. They sprinkled a little oregano over every pie. Most places don't do that. It makes a difference because it's an aromatic. Bum bum. So, what I'm going to do is, I am going to cover this one up and put it in the fridge after it cools. But first, I've got a slightly oiled piece of foil, and I'm going to loosely tent my ziti and put it in my 350 cyclonic aromatic, move the thing around oven, and cook it for like a half an hour and pull the foil off, and then let it cook another 10 minutes so the cheese gets bubbly. Worst case scenario, we're starving and we have to eat, I'll turn it to broil and melt the cheese that way. But I want to make sure that everything sets a little bit and the cheese on the inside, the clouds get melty, gooey on the inside. It's the tricky part. Okay, so we'll come back when it's cooked. There you go. Ziti al forno with clouds, big ziti with clouds, and some garlic bread, because you gotta have some garlic bread, right? Yeah, so I did turn on the broiler a little bit at the end to get a little more color, get the cheese browning a little bit. Let's see what this looks like. Here it's a baked ziti, so it's a little messy, it doesn't hold its shape like lasagna does. You want to see a perfect cut lasagna? I'll say it again, season liberally. Cecil did a lasagna bolognese. It looked amazing. He was able to cut a middle slice out that held its form perfectly. I say, but this ain't bad. This one's holding its form okay. Piece of garlic bread. Let's test this thing out. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty delicious. I'm gonna get a different fork, because you know what comes next, right?
Holy clap.
She said, holy clap. She wants you to clap. Hold the clap. Don't clap. That's what she's saying. It's that good, but hold the clap. For our rating and for Logan, that's what she said. Hold the clap. What do you think?
It's amazing.
All right. Well, this is mine. You get your own.
That's it.
So, the CK,
The CK.
This is CK's Kitchen, the CK's Kitchen channel. From our kitchen to your kitchen, or wherever you're watching this, cook, enjoy, mangia.